What's going on, everybody? I'm really stoked to make this video. I wanted to break down and give you my honest review, takeaways, pros and cons, and overall experience from my week-long Joe Dispenza advanced retreat in Cancun, Mexico. Took place from December 4th or December 5th to December 12th. So basically, a little backstory. If you don't know who Joe Dispenza is, honestly, my advice is to check him out on Spotify, podcasts, YouTube. He has a plethora of content. But basically, he's a master at teaching others, honestly, how to heal themselves, live an incredible life, live a life filled with love and abundance. And he's very scientific. So when I got there, I had read his books. I had read two of his books, Becoming Supernatural, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, and I was working on You Are the Placebo Effect. He has a bunch of books that I highly recommend checking out. And I had listened to him on a bunch of podcasts, but honestly, the truth was I had never gotten into meditation, and I had heard about his retreats from my mom, and also one of my really good friends, Connor, had just gotten back from one in Niagara Falls, and he had a life-changing experience. So I was like, okay, I'm going for it. I'm signing up. The cost was actually pretty affordable. I think it's like $2,200 for the week, plus you pay for your lodging. And because we were in Mexico, the room, it was an all-inclusive resort right on the ocean, beautiful resort, good food. And it was like, I think like 220 to 250 a night, and that's including all your food and all your amenities. And it was a really incredible stay. He travels all around the world. I think in January he's going to be in Colombia. But my experience, I didn't really have much that I expected, or I didn't really have much of an idea what I was getting myself into, is the best way to put it. I didn't really know what the days were going to be like, what to do. I had a little bit of background information on what he taught, but right when I got there, the first day, he goes into basically a long model building discussion where he's explaining what we're going to be doing all week, what we're going to be working on, and the whole week is a big breakdown of basically discussions and lectures from him. And he's, by the way, probably one of the most fantastic public speakers and lecturers that I've ever had the pleasure of witnessing. He would go on for 2-3 hour lectures, and all of 1,800 of us, there was 1,800 people from 65 countries, were silent and locked in on the content that he was teaching. And that's very difficult. If you remember, being back in school, it's probably pretty hard to, like for me, it was hard to stay awake for like 20 minutes on most of my teachers where they were lecturing. So the fact that he had the attention of everybody when he was doing these lectures was fantastic. And the only other speakers that I've seen, like Tony Robbins on video, it seems like he captivates his audience like that, and Tom Ferry, of course, the realtor kind of top dog coach, can captivate an audience. But I've never seen, he's one of the best that I've ever seen. So the days would be broken up before, without giving it too much information away and spoiling it, what the experience will be like. It's broken up between these lectures where you're talking about quantum physics, you're talking about neuroscience, you're listening to case studies and highly recorded scientific experiments on what's going on for people, normal people just like us who are going through this retreat. And then the other part of the retreat is meditations. Some of the meditations are in the big, ballroom where all 1800s were, and there's amazing volume and hookups and stuff like that. And then some of the other meditations as well were walking meditations where we're out on the beach, and in various locations, it's not always a beach, but you're going to be out moving as well as meditating. And my first day, I remember, I was nervous, meeting really cool new people. The people that are drawn to these type of events are usually very high level and very amazing. But I got into the first couple of meditations, and I was not a meditator. A lot of people that I had met here before, they were coming to like their 10th retreat, and they meditate every day, and it was kind of hard for me to get into it. But it was really day 2 where, I'm learning so much information, I'm understanding how, his practices apply to normal people just like us, how you can go into the quantum field, change your energy, change your emotions, and create incredible change. And I had a profound, really breakthrough day 2 where I got into this meditative state. My eyes were closed. I kind of got outside my body. I start to feel these incredible sensations all throughout my body, and you're tapping into basically greater than who you are. You're going into a high level state. You're going into a state of just pure consciousness and awareness where you get to just experience life and experience energy from a whole different reality than you're used to with your 3D senses. And the thing that's, I think, so beautiful about the retreat is that he breaks it down and he explains it so you can understand it. For a lot of us that are analytical and who need, the proof and the science behind the reasoning, so we don't just go in, and it really explains it well, and then you can go into these exercises understanding what's going on and see the results happen. I think he is unlike anyone I've ever seen before, kind of in the spirituality space, if that's even what you want to call it, because he's truly just hard sciences. He allows people to go out and basically create what he's teaching so fast, and it doesn't matter how old you are. There was people that were 10 or 11-year-old kids to people definitely in their 80s, how much experience people had. Some people it was their first one, like me. Some people have been coming back for years and years, maybe decades. And a lot of the people there that I met had gotten into his work because they were very desperate. They were very sick. They had a life-threatening condition. They had gone through a huge trauma. I was really there more to get some clarity on what I wanted after. I'm obviously been building a real estate business, but I want to experience other things and do other things, and I just thought it'd be a great way to get some clarity on my own personal development, and certainly got that. And I think that the range of people that go to these events is a huge range, but I would definitely say that the majority of the people, if I had to break down into different categories, I've met people that had health issues, people that had gone through trauma, people that just felt like they wanted to experience more out of life and see what it was about, and then also people that just wanted a major breakthrough, whether it was in their relationships, with their career, they just felt stagnant in life. I think his work draws a lot of people that just feel like there's got to be a point that we're all here on this spinning ball, and there's got to be a reason for everything that happens. And he really breaks the science down and talks about we all have this pure source, pure love, pure creator inside of us, and he allows us to get outside of that unconscious programming that really has trapped us into the day-to-day mundane life, the rat race, the hamster wheel, if so call it, and get back to that state of just pure creativity and pure love, pure enjoyment, and pure abundance, not feeling lack and not feeling longing for the things that we don't have in the material world. So my main takeaways, honestly, if I was to break it down very simply, is that when you can get outside of yourself and outside of your reality, you can tap into anything that you want. You can tap into infinite possibilities, infinite abundance, infinite love. It's really incredible to think that all the finite and all the lack and all the sadness and anger and problems that we experience in our day-to-day 3D virtual reality world, the world of the senses, can be changed by going beyond that. You don't have to change it just matter to matter. You don't have to wait to feel love until somebody loves you. You don't have to wait to feel abundant until you have all the money in the world. And he really teaches the hard science of that, and also gives you the toolkit. So not just you're in this incredible state during the week, but he gives you the toolkit, the resources, the meditations to go beyond he calls it going beyond the sanctuary once you leave the retreat. Because obviously I've gone to a lot of retreats where you get so fired up, you're so excited, you meet so many good people, and then you return back and it kind of fades. But I finished the retreat, when would have that been? I finished the retreat on the 12th. Today is the 20th, and I haven't missed one day of meditating. Some days I've meditated for 2 or 3 hours. Some days it's more been like 30 minutes. But I was never a meditator before. I really felt like meditation wasn't really for me. I'm an active guy. I like to be out and moving, doing things. And this meditation that he teaches, and the mindset and the high-level learning that we would go through at this retreat is nothing like Calm or Headspace or any meditation you've done before. So my advice for people maybe interested in getting into this, I would say, before you go all in and book, the 1 week retreat, unless it's really calling you, I would say take a look at a couple of his books, maybe Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself and Becoming Supernatural. Take a look at some of the podcasts. I'll keep links to this in the description. I'm not paid by him, and this is no product sponsor affiliation. I just really believe that what he teaches could work for literally anyone. And then I would also recommend talking to friends or other people who have gone maybe. But the thing about these retreats is they sell out right away when they're come out. So you really do want to be all in if you decide to sign up and go for it. He does them all around the world. He's doing Colombia in January. He's doing Australia. He has Cancun again in June, Austria. And he's doing these advanced retreats all around the world. And I think from a lot of people that I've met, they like to go back to more than one. And they like to continue that knowledge. He does advanced follow-ups. But it's one of those things where once you learn this information and once you kind of break beyond the mold of what you thought life was all about and what reality was, it's hard to go back And if you talk to anyone that's done this work, not just me, they might have a similar response. So one thing I would say, if I had to give any cons to the event or some downsides, obviously, you have to make sure you can take off work. It's really, you're not going to be in a working space. Some days we were meditating. We had one single meditation that was about 5 hours. We're getting up most days really early. You end, 6 or 7 p.m. You're starting before 6 a.m. So they're really full days. You definitely want to make sure you have coverage, or you can get off of work, or make sure everything's taken care of at home. Let's think about if I have any other cons. I think the value is honestly incredible. So I wouldn't say that's a con, even though it's not cheap, right? It's not just a 3 week, 3 day, couple $100 event. You have to definitely, the cost of travel and something like that is all worked into it. And I honestly think, the size for some people, an 1,800 person event might be too much and might not be intimate enough. You're not going to get any one-on-one time or any time to chat with Dr. Joe, and you kind of just have to understand that's how it's going to go, because everyone wants 2 minutes of his time. But he has all these volunteers. There's you're broken up into smaller groups. You get to meet a lot of people. You do these amazing coherence healings where you're helping heal people that have major issues, and you're learning all these new ways of being, new techniques, new meditations, even though you're not getting maybe one-on-one time with him. But he runs the whole show. He's the one up speaking there in front of the stage like the whole time, and he doesn't even take a sip of water, it seems like. He doesn't miss a beat. He's just 10 out of 10 electricity and energy every time he's on stage. And so, I mean, this is the type of thing where if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling like you're not your best self, if you're struggling with something health related, I could not recommend any event more. I've done the Hoffman process in the past, and I made a video about that as well. That's the only thing I think I could relate to, having as much change in a week's time. And Hoffman is all about inner work, self-forgiveness, forgiving, people in your past, letting go of trauma. And this, I think, is more outer work, where you're going inside, but you're also exploring infinite possibilities and creating a life that you want to live, and realizing that anything is possible. And it's very groundbreaking. Hoffman for me was very healing, and this is very much groundbreaking, incredible. It's like hard to explain it in words. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a bunch of resources. If you've never heard of Dr. Joe, definitely give him a listen on a couple of my favorite podcasts that I'll recommend in the description. Reach out to me if you have questions. But this is my honest feedback and my honest report of what I experienced in Cancun. And for me, it was like a 20 out of 10. So take it with a grain of salt. Might not be for everybody. I bet there's people that have gone and haven't loved it, but for me, I loved it, and that's just my honest feedback. And if you have questions, comments, concerns, hit me up in the chat or reach out anytime, and we'll see you on the next video. Take care.